Good morning. It's another beautiful day here in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to Business Morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the program. I'm Harriet Agbenyi. Well, work and business activities have resumed across the country after the two-day holidays declared by the federal government to celebrate Christmas and Boxing Day. Now, banks and corporate organizations are also expected to resume today, so you can stop by your own bank and do your transactions before the weekend sets in. Now, the task of nation building requires the participation of all, regardless of race, ethnicity, or gender, in the creation of a strong state, where women's participation in nation building is important because, among other things, they play a special role in the overall development of the country. Today, most women, particularly the educated ones and semi-educated ones, are shouldering all kinds of responsibilities as either managers, officers, TV and radio newscasters and personalities, pilots, ministers, musicians, clerks, and the list is actually endless. So over the years, Nigerian women have campaigned for recognition and effective inclusion of their contributions in social, cultural, economic, communal, and nation-building activities. Well, the present administration has shown it is gender-friendly and has encouraged women to participate not just in politics, but also in economic development. But how have they fared in the outgoing year, and what will 2014 be like for most women? That's our focus on the program today, and I'll be joined by a gender advocate and a PR consultant, Mrs. Adenike Shobajo, and the first Vice President, NECA's Networks of Entrepreneurial Women, Mrs. Fayo Williams. Well, before we get to all of that, let's take a look at what's happening in the news. The Central Bank of Nigeria insists that foreign exchange sales to bureau de change operators will remain at $250,000 per week per operator. Now, the regulator, in a circular to all authorized dealers and bureau de change operators, adds that the selling rate by the authorized dealers to BDCs would be the prevailing interbank exchange rate plus a margin not exceeding 1%. A foreign exchange cash purchased by BDCs from authorized dealers and the CBN will be sold to foreign exchange end users at a rate not exceeding 2% margin above the buying rate. Well, the Apex Bank has had observed that some authorized dealers have continued to deal in free funds without adequate documentation, contrary to provisions of extant regulation, and has reminded such dealers that the circular is still in force and all dealings in foreign exchange must be supported with appropriate documentation and returns rendered to regulatory authorities irrespective of the source of the funds, and it has said that such violators of the laws will definitely be sanctioned. And so all the BDC operators should really err on the side of caution. But now let's look at other activities. We know that activities have resumed at the money and equities markets, and some dealers expect a quiet trading pattern at the Nigerian equities market as investors continue to trade cautiously since the year ends in another couple of days. Now, on Tuesday, which was the last day of trade before the holiday, the Nigerian equities market reversed gains recorded on Monday as investors took profit of some bellwethers in only 3 hours of trading. Well, the all-share index slipped 0.12% to end the session at 39,858.23 points, while market capitalization lost about 15.53 billion naira to close lower at 12.76 trillion naira. The market breadth, however, remained positive as 37 stocks outweighed 17 laggards. The top 5 gainers, led by GSK, recorded gains on their 5 naira. Well, investors gave major capitalized stocks including Nigerian Breweries, Dangote Cement, Guinness Nigeria, and Lafarge Cement WAPCO the cold shoulder. Volume and value traded grew to about 610.61 million units and 2.35 billion naira respectively. MTI was the most traded stock for the day with over 267.61 million units churned out. It's followed by Unity Bank, Transcorp, FCMB, and UBA. Well, Rotimi Fakerejo joins me now to talk more about what we should be expecting from today's trade. Good morning, Rotimi, and thank you for joining us.
Morning, Harriet.
Well, some traders actually expect a quiet trading session today, but what's your take? What's the mood like at the market this morning?
Well, I think it's something very close to that now. Because the number of traders on the floor right now is just about 20 or thereabouts. But that, be that as it may, we equally have a lot of stockbrokers trading remotely from their different offices. But by and large, we expect that, just as you mentioned, that trading will be on a low key today. Before we see any major activity again, it's definitely going to be on particularly Tuesday and even Monday. But from today, I think that it's just going to be on a low key.
And so what are your thoughts as to what direction the market will swing today? Because we know that on Tuesday, the market closed in negative territory, dropped about 0.12%. And so because we have very few traders on the floor today, might the market close the same way today?
Well, it's very hard to tell because the only way that the low activity today might only translate in the volume and value that will be done. But I think in terms of market appreciation or thereabout, I think it has a lot to do with the major the high cap stocks, so to say, in the likes of Nigerian Breweries and Dangote Cement. We saw all those stocks losing some points on Tuesday, and basically that was what resulted in the downturn in the market, in spite the fact that we have about 37 gainers and a little less than that on the losers chart. So I think for today, it's still very hard to tell, but the way I perceive it is most likely not to be as it was on Tuesday. That is, some of the stocks I lost on that day might definitely stabilize today and gain some little points.
Well, apart from those high cap stocks that you've mentioned, Rotimi, are there any medium cap stocks that should be of particular interest, at least for today?
Well, I think another among such will be Wando PLC and Transcorp PLC, and I think those ones in recent past they've been pulling a lot of volume and value, and I think we've seen a good appreciation in them both, and I think it's not going to be different today, even with what I'm seeing concerning Transcorp PLC.
Well, recently Owando actually got an approval to buy a certain company. So would that also positively affect how the share will trade today?
Yes, it definitely will, and we've seen that affecting it in previous days. The acquisition of ConocoPhillips Oil is definitely going to impact on the company greatly. And I think with the way it has been, I think the value, what they're actually injecting into that, compared to what they're going to get in return, is definitely going to be a lot in favor of Wando PLC. So invariably, a lot of people are trying to position themselves that if they're actually going to start exploration next year, though that company has been doing such for long, but if they are acquiring that company now, they too are entering into full-time exploration and lifting of oil. And if that be the case, they're definitely going to impact greatly on their top line and bottom line. So invariably, we will see it the price appreciating, even if it's not in the immediate, but in the medium term, we are going to see that happen quickly.
All right. What about stocks on the insurance? In the insurance stocks, do we expect any of them to perform brightly today?
Well, I think the one that will have really that has really been the one leading the trail is Custodian and Alliance Insurance. But I think from what I'm seeing right now, the kind of offer that is starting the market is definitely very high. So invariably we may see the price of that dipping today. And the result of Prestige Assurance, which was sent to the floor, which is already online, is definitely not impressive enough, because we saw a definite a sharp drop in their in the premium, in the gross premium. But I think due to a lot of investment income that they made, they still had about 11.7% appreciation in their profit after tax. So I think the result is not really enticing, even as the profit after tax is positive. But I think that may not be enough to actually carry the insurance sector high today. So invariably, we may not really see much of a gain, but rather a loss in the insurance index at the place of the market.
Well, thank you so much, Rotimi, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on the program. Do have a profitable trading session, even though it's just going to be for today before the weekend starts again. But thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Well, I've been speaking with a stockbroker live from the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Rotimi Fakejo. He's joined me live via Skype. And just as I said, traders are actually expecting a quiet day today at the market as investors trade cautiously since the year ends in a couple of days, but he's optimistic that the market might close in winning ways, especially if profit isn't taken off bellwether stocks like Nigerian Breweries, Dangote Cement, Guinness Nigeria and the likes of it. Well, Business Morning will continue in just a moment. Please join us again. Those headlines on our website channelstv.com or on youtube.com/channelsweb. But let's take a look at what markets outside our shores are looking like. It looks like a U.S. equities market resumed yesterday in North Territory. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose by about 0.75% to about 16,479.88. The S&P 500 is also trending in positive territory. It's up 0.47% to 1,842.02. The Nasdaq is up 0.28%. That's about 11.76 basis points added to close at 4,167.18. And according to dealers, this is because Americans had actually expected filing applications for jobless benefits last week, but they didn't do that. So it cast a positive light on the labor market, which is why we see the numbers actually closing all in green territory. Well, let's cross over to the Asian burst now. And the Asian equities market didn't go on holiday, as we all know. They were open on the 25th and the 26th, and trading actually happened. But this morning, Asian stocks actually rose as the Japan's Nikkei 225 logged a 6-year high on the back of a weak yen. The Nikkei 225 actually appreciated about 4.50 basis points to 16,178.94. The Shanghai Composite Index is up 1.36% to 2,106.25. The Hang Seng Index is up 0.27% to 23,243.24. And European shares opened higher today after the 2-day Christmas break, with trading expected to be thin as investors prepare for the new year. The FTSE 100 in early trade is up 0.46% to 6,725.13. The DAX is up about 70.40 basis points to 9,559.49. And the CAC 40 is also trending in positive territory. It's up by over 0.5% to 4,244.56. Well, when Business Morning returns in just a moment, we'll continue our sectoral review. And today on the program, we'll be looking at women participation in nation building for the year 2013. Please join us again.